maximum strength Flexol to help you live better, work better, feel better, get better. Get Flexol or new maximum strength Flexol. The Pain Relief Pro trainers recommend.
You're watching Coin TV, Channel 6, Portland, Vancouver.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. President Clinton has his foot on the accelerator tonight, trying to build critical momentum for congressional approval of NAFTA.
The president concedes he still doesn't have the votes needed to get the trade deal approved, and time is short. The showdown vote on NAFTA is 1 week from today. White House correspondent Rita Braver begins our coverage.
Well, you were great last night.
President Clinton was clearly savoring Vice President Gore's performance last night, staging a photo op while he put in a call to Gore at a NAFTA rally in Colorado.
I was so proud not only of what you said, but of how you said it, kind of appealing to people's hopes instead of their fears.
The president even called a news conference to try to keep momentum building.
And I think by the time we get to vote counting, we'll have enough to win.
The White House believes Gore undercut Perot's credibility. For example, reminding Mr. Perot of predictions he'd made about the Gulf War.
And you told Larry King, this is a terrible mistake because it'll lead to the death of 40,000 American troops. You said you had talked to the person who had ordered the caskets. You were wrong about that.
We watched the debate with one undecided member.
I thought, in terms of substance on the debate last night, the vice president won hands down.
But this congressman is still undecided, and even a member who came out for NAFTA today says the battle is still uphill in the House.
Their opinion of Ross Perot may have changed, but I'm not sure their opinion of NAFTA may have changed.
And organized labor was trying to keep the anti-NAFTA fire burning, dumping petitions with 750,000 signatures on Capitol Hill today, as if to underscore Perot's message last night.
The whole House of Representatives is running in 1994 and a third of the Senate. We got a little song we sang. We'll remember in November when we step into that little booth.
And today, Perot was downplaying public opinion polls that showed pro-NAFTA support building after the debate.
This is not an athletic contest. This is something that affects the lives of millions of Americans and millions of people in Mexico.
So with just 1 week to go, the administration insists it still has a fighting chance to pass NAFTA. But today, members of Congress leave for a long holiday weekend, and how they vote could depend on what they hear from the home folks, Connie.
Rita Braver at the White House. Thank you.
Well, for folks watching the Gore-Perot mud wrestling match at home last night, the claims and counterclaims about NAFTA were fast, often confusing, sometimes boring, and not always accurate. CBS News correspondent Eric Ingberg has been trying to separate brass tacks from bullshine, fact from fiction, for tonight's CBS Evening News reality check.
Look at reality.
Always a good idea, but not easy to do with a debate as disjointed and petty as this one. The combatants didn't even talk much about NAFTA's impact on U.S. jobs and wages.
Now, when you've got a 7-to-1 wage differential between the United States and Mexico, you will hear the giant sucking sound.
Everybody else says it increases jobs in the United States.
Reality. A congressional report says NAFTA will have a small impact on jobs. Studies say no more than 200,000 jobs will be gained or lost.
We have 120 million people in our labor force, so talking about a few 100,000 jobs, more or less, is important for the people who have them or who risk losing their jobs, but across the country, it's just a drop in the bucket.
They clashed on Mexico's potential to be a big market for U.S. products.
If we lower those trade barriers and get rid of them altogether, we will have an export surge into Mexico.
Mexico is a country that can't buy anything.
Mexicans do make enough money to buy $41 billion in U.S. goods and services last year. But their economy is only 4% of ours, too small for a sudden bonanza. How about cleaning up Mexico's pollution?
We will have a $20 to $40 billion bill on pollution alone. Now, guess who's going to pay that? All you hardworking taxpayers that still have jobs, go look in the mirror.
Environmental groups put the cost at $6 to $12 billion. Perot didn't mention that the World Bank will help cover the cost with a big loan. Gore went on to raise the trade threat from the Far East.
If we don't take this deal, you can bet that Japan will try to take this deal. They'll be in there in a New York minute.
But Mexico has been wooing the Japanese with little success for a long time.
That's one area where the administration is grossly exaggerating and building its own fear scenario. The Japanese have been very cautious about expanding into Mexico.
The trade warriors blistered each other for all the money that's being spent on unfair lobbying and TV ads. There's been no shortage of that on both sides, and as last night affirmed, no shortage of exaggeration either. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
NAFTA was not the only subject covered at President Clinton's news conference today. For instance, despite difficulties in Haiti and Somalia, President Clinton said he has full confidence in his foreign policy team and plans no changes. Secretary of State Warren Christopher, meanwhile, fired 2 low-level employees today. The 2 men who worked on the 1992 Clinton-Gore campaign are accused of searching through State Department personnel files of 160 Bush administration appointees.
Another political controversy to report tonight, this one swirling in the wake of last week's gubernatorial election in New Jersey. The Republican challenger eked out a victory by only 40,000 votes. But now there are charges dirty tricks may have made the difference, with a prominent Republican operative from the Reagan years at the center of it all. Correspondent John Roberts has the story.
We did it!
It was the closest of upsets. A mere 1% separated Christine Whitman from incumbent Jim Florio. Then yesterday, Whitman's campaign manager, Ed Rollins, quoted as saying payments totaling $500,000 were made to black ministers and Democratic Party workers, not to rally votes for Florio. Ministers were told, don't get up in the pulpit Sunday and say it's your moral obligation that you vote for Jim Florio. To party workers, how much have they paid you? We'll match it. Go home, sit, and watch television. Democrats charge paying voters to stay at home amounts to stealing democracy.
The idea of paying money in any way to inhibit any group of people from voting or participating in democracy is very, very troubling.
But at black churches across the state today, ministers said they can't be bought and weren't bought.
It could be understood as an attempt to smear the growing political power of the black community.
An angry governor-elect disavowed Rollins' statements.
But I want to tell you, this did not happen. And he knows that. Why he made those statements, I simply cannot tell you.
Late this afternoon, in a carefully worded statement, Rollins retracted his comments, saying, my remarks left the impression of something that was not true and did not occur. But political analysts say the real story has yet to come out.
His statement, having been retracted, is no longer necessarily a guide to what that campaign did.
The Democrats are pressing for an official investigation, filing a complaint with the U.S. Attorney's Office. If there is any suggestion of wrongdoing, they will seek an injunction blocking certification of the election results. John Roberts, CBS News, Trenton, New Jersey.
Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, new information from the Defense Department about the Gulf War mystery illness.
An eye on America. Tonight, the Perot factor in American politics and why he can't be ignored.
Start fresh and get a whole other kind of chip.
Chip Shot.
Presto Chip Shot potato chips. Slices so thin they gotta be crisp. Regular or ripple cut. Fry them up or even microwave for a light, no-fat chip.
Chip Shot.
Perfect Chip Shot slices. Flavor them up for the taste you want. Clean up easy. Dishwasher safe.
Chip Shot.
Crisp, light, delicious. A whole other kind of chip. Chip Shot potato chipper.
Chip Shot.
From Presto.
You wouldn't take your $1,200 evening gown to a laundromat, so why take your GM vehicle to anyone other than your GM dealer? No one else has the training and genuine GM parts to protect your investment. So when you need service, come back to your GM dealer.
As a kid, I didn't care about eating right. Now I'm an adult. I care. So I switched to Total. It's better for adults who want a whole day's worth of all these vitamins and just 100 calories.
Total. More than good nutrition.
It's adult nutrition.
More ominous echoes today of the Persian Gulf War. For the second time in 2 weeks, Kuwait reported a border clash with the forces of Saddam Hussein. Kuwait says Iraqi gunners opened an exchange of heavy fire with a Kuwaiti outpost in what is supposed to be the demilitarized zone between the two countries. Iraq denies any shooting took place.
Desert Storm Syndrome, the illness affecting U.S. veterans of the Gulf War, is still a mystery tonight. Pentagon officials have rejected the latest theory that it was caused by Iraqi chemical weapons. But amid rising complaints from Congress and veterans, Defense Secretary Les Aspin said today he will step up the search for a cause. Correspondent Jim Stewart reports.
Alarm red. Alarm red. It was one of the biggest fears of the Gulf War, an Iraqi chemical attack. And today, while the Pentagon still insists there never was one, it did concede that tiny amounts of nerve and mustard gas may have been detected shortly after the war began by a Czechoslovakian chemical detachment. But the amounts were too small to kill, and the Pentagon denies they caused a mystery illness now affecting an estimated 2,000 Desert Storm veterans.
What we have here is another mystery. If the detections were valid, we don't know where the agent came from.
But Gulf War veterans and critics say the only mystery to them is why the Pentagon has waited 2 years before asking what would appear to be some very obvious questions. Saudi Arabia, for example, has still not been asked to provide information about chemical weapons it may have had in the area. And Pentagon officials confirm they have still not fully examined the effects of oil fires and chemical pollution on veterans in some areas of the war zone.
It is entirely possible, even plausible, that a number of these individuals, or most of them, if not all, were exposed to multiple chemicals in small amounts.
The issue has caught fire in Congress.
They were told that they were never exposed to these agents, and yet hundreds of them are developing these cancers.
And scores of sick veterans, like former helicopter pilot Mike Land, have come to Washington to testify.
Veterans are dying. No one is paying any attention to them. Something needs to be done immediately.
Even the Department of Veterans Affairs wonders if the Pentagon has come clean.
Obviously, people have a right to view with suspicion how they are handling the question of the mysterious illness of the Persian Gulf Syndrome.
Hoping to provide the answers, the Pentagon said today it would appoint a blue ribbon scientific panel to review all the latest evidence. Jim Stewart, CBS News, the Pentagon.
Congress was caught up with crime legislation today. The House passed the familiar Brady bill again. The vote this time 238 to 189. The Brady bill imposes a 5-day waiting period and background check for handgun purchasers. The bill now goes to the Senate. In the Senate today, Republicans threatened to filibuster to defeat a sweeping crime bill. The Republicans oppose an amendment that would ban most assault weapons.
In Manassas, Virginia, after 4 hours of deliberations, a jury acquitted John Bobbitt of sexually assaulting his wife. It was shortly after the alleged assault that his wife used a knife to sever his penis. It was later reattached in a 9-hour operation. John Bobbitt faced a maximum 20-year jail term. Lorena Bobbitt faces the same sentence when she stands trial in 3 weeks on a charge of malicious wounding.
Stay with us for much more CBS Evening News, including disaster in England for a busload of American tourists.
When my wife started working again, I wasn't crazy about having to cook 3 nights a week.
You'll be glad to know anyone can use a Whirlpool range.
I'm getting the hang of this. When we make dinner, we're supposed to leave the kitchen just the way we found it.
This Whirlpool has simple electronic controls and a sealed cooking surface, so spills aren't a problem.
I like help. Help is good.
Whirlpool, how to make a home run.
Got all of that one. Yeah. Hey, how'd you swing that Grand Prix? You were talking about a Taurus, right?
I did the numbers. Turns out Grand Prix is the most affordable mid-size sedan you can get with a V6, anti-lock brakes, and standard dual airbags.
Really? You get a special deal or what?
Didn't need to. Came that way. Best part is, it's a Pontiac. Quick, handles great.
Wish I could drive like that.
Get a Grand Prix.
Mothers have learned from countless doctors and pharmacists to take care of coughs with Robitussin. And they've taken this advice home. Robitussin, recommended by Dr. Mom. Ask your doctor or pharmacist.
To help relieve your heartburn and give you something your body needs anyway, Tom
Tums has calcium
What does my original Rolaids have?
and aluminum salt.
I think I'll try the calcium. The Tums.
Calcium-rich Tums.
How far would you go to become famous? We'll show you what it takes. A behind-the-scenes look at fame on an all-new 48 Hours tonight.
In the streets of Mogadishu today, an American soldier killed 2 Somali clan warriors. The men were loading a grenade launcher and a machine gun into a van when the U.S. Army sharpshooters saw them from a rooftop lookout and fired. A U.S. military spokesman said under the rules of engagement in Mogadishu, the soldier was allowed to shoot when he spotted the heavy weapons on the street. In Sarajevo today, the attackers were hidden in the hills, and their victims were innocent civilians, including children. Mortar shells struck the downtown area, wounding 11 people. They also hit a residential neighborhood where children were playing. At least 4 children were killed.
In England, a vacation day trip ended in disaster for a busload of American and Canadian tourists. Nearly everyone aboard was killed or injured when the bus went off a highway and overturned. Correspondent Mark Phillips reports.
A day that had begun in high hopes of a visit to some of England's most glorious, uplifting landmarks ended in carnage, shock, and grief in a roadside ditch. 10 people, 9 of them American tourists, were killed when their bus skidded off a rain-slick highway. They'd been on their way to the historic Canterbury Cathedral. Their British driver, who was also killed, may have lost control while trying to avoid another vehicle.
There's been a collision, we think, between the coach and the van traveling in front of the coach.
The dead and more than 24 injured were taken to a local hospital. Some of the survivors in shock from their injuries and from learning of the deaths of relatives and friends.
Most of the fatalities occurred on the side the coach turned onto. For obvious reasons, they were trapped. Some actually appeared to have gone out of the windows and then been underneath the coach.
Trapped under the coach,
were
as it was
obviously
still
crushed.
moving.
They all say they did not hear people crying or trapped and distressed, and I suspect that those who were killed almost instantly.
3 sisters had been on the bus. 1 lived, 2 died. 2 husbands survived. Their wives died. The crashes again raised the argument over whether seat belts should be compulsory on buses, but that argument comes too late for the 10 whose lives ended suddenly today on a wet and miserable English roadside. Mark Phillips, CBS News, London.
Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, an alternative to heart bypass surgery that's cheaper and safer.
You've waited for a Buick. You've waited for Buick quality at a low sticker price. You've waited for a car with Buick's reputation for safety. It seems you've waited for a century. Buick Century, with standard driver airbag, anti-lock brakes, power locks and windows, and more. All for $14,995. So don't wait any longer. See your Buick dealer today. This is the value of the century.
Anna wants me to try something I've never tasted before.
It's the Kellogg's Muesli.
Don't you just love the way she talks?
The taste of the Kellogg's Muesli cereal is very surprising.
Hey, this is very surprising.
It's got plump raisins.
They are plump.
The flakes very crispy in the Kellogg's Muesli.
It's crispy.
The crunchy almonds, the brown sugar, and the yummy dates.
It's yummy.
Surprise yourself with the fabulous taste of Kellogg's Mueslix.
No. Kellogg's Muesli.
For one day only, Sears is having one big sale. All day Thursday, you can save in every department. Save on appliances, apparel, electronics, hardware, and more. Sears Veterans Day sale starts Thursday, ends Thursday.
I need a cold medicine that won't slow me down. My husband's a doctor and recommends Dimetap Extend-Tab.
Dimetap has one of the least sedating non-prescription antihistamines.
Dimetap stops my cold symptoms without stopping me.
Doctors recommend Dimetap for their families and yours.
What happened at the 60 Minutes 25th Anniversary Bash?
Sexual Healing looks at male menopause.
Tomorrow on CBS This Morning, Breakfast for Your Head.
Under the heading of What's Going On Here, a year ago, researchers at Boston University found 7 out of every 10 milk samples they studied contained the wrong amount of vitamin D, either too much or too little. Tonight, a new study and new results. A turn for the worse. This time, 8 out of 10 milk samples contained the wrong amount of vitamin D. Too little vitamin D can cause bone problems. Too much can cause toxic side effects as well.
Another major study is out tonight, this one about treatments for heart disease. Turns out there's an alternative to bypass surgery. It works about as well as a bypass, but can be a lot cheaper and safer. CBS News health correspondent Dr. Bob Arnott has the story.
All right, ready to roll. 300,000 Americans a year are treated with angioplasty, a procedure for heart disease in which a balloon is used to unclog the coronary arteries. It's quick, relatively cheap, and done while the patient is awake.
Mr. Garber, how you feeling?
Now, for the first time, there is evidence that angioplasty has the same benefit as long-established heart bypass surgery, which is far more invasive and expensive.
This study establishes angioplasty as a viable alternative to bypass surgery for patients with advanced coronary disease.
Today, researchers at the American Heart Association convention announced results of a major study, which found at the end of 3 years, angioplasty patients survived just as long as people who had bypass surgery, and they suffered fewer heart attacks.
Recuperation is fast, effective, and people return to a normal life, such as work and other things, very, very rapidly, as opposed to 2 to 3 months that are often required after bypass surgery.
66-year-old Nicholas Logrippo had angioplasty Monday. Tomorrow, he's going home. By next week, his doctors hope he'll be able to get back on his bicycle.
At this moment, I feel as great as I've ever felt. I think I had root canals that were worse than this.
But angioplasty is not without its shortcomings. The study found that over 50% of angioplasty patients required at least one more corrective procedure. By comparison, only 12% of bypass patients required another operation.
Neither bypass surgery nor angioplasty is the perfect answer, since neither can stop the progression of heart disease. But other research presented at the Heart Association meetings today showed again that only certain cholesterol-lowering drugs or diet and lifestyle changes can actually reverse heart disease. Dr. Bob Arnott, CBS News, New York.
To be a blue ribbon champion, you've got to get up pretty early. And helping Jan get a jump on her day is decaffeinated Folgers Crystals with that great waking up aroma. Aroma that starts from mountain-grown beans, fresh brewed, then crystallized. An aroma that signals all that rich, eye-opening taste to come. Decaffeinated Folgers Crystals.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Today, Michael White is having a lunch meeting in Indonesia without even leaving town.
This is your life.
Mary Kaplan is keeping things moving at her office, even though she's going nowhere fast.
This is your world.
With everything from local to long distance to cellular, it's easy to see why Sprint is the choice of millions who need to be there now.
Be there now. Life won't wait. Be there now.
Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Look to us for special delivery. Call us. We'll arrange to pick you up at your home, office, or repair shop. That's special delivery. That's Enterprise.
Attention heartburn sufferers.
If antacids work, why do I keep getting heartburn?
You know, frequent heartburn may be a sign of a more serious medical problem. Your doctor has treatment plans that can help.
Frequent heartburn. Isn't it time you talk to your doctor?
The idea for our new Dow plant was simple. If we don't cause water pollution, there'll be no need to clean up water pollution. So Dow employed advanced technology that completely recycles the water we use within the plant instead of sending it back to the river. No one made us do it. We just did it. Is this kind of pollution prevention important for our future? I've got a couple of reasons that say yes, it is.
Dow lets you do great things.
One of the things that makes American politics so fascinating is the occasional emergence of someone who breaks the familiar molds. Most of the time they fizzle, and fizzle fast. In the news this week, an exception to that rule. Name, Ross Perot. Mission, no one's really sure. Correspondent Vicki Mabry investigates for tonight's Eye on America.
How are you? Hey, little sister.
Most unsuccessful presidential candidates fade away, but you never have to ask, whatever happened to Ross?
Good morning. Great to be with you.
From last night's debate with Vice President Gore,
our problem is we do the world's dumbest trade agreements,
to rallies in different cities nearly every weekend,
it's all about cheap labor,
to infomercials he pays for from his own deep pockets,
this Mexican trade agreement is a mess.
Ross Perot is everywhere, imploring voters to help give NAFTA the shaft. His untiring criticism has earned him a place on the bestseller list and spawned a quarterly publication called the Perot Periodical, not to mention millions of adoring fans.
He says everything the way it is.
That is for the country, not for politics and making money off the country.
He hit the nail right on the head, I'll tell you.
So the administration finally gave up trying to ignore the Texas billionaire. President Clinton's political advisor, Paul Begala, says that's why they took the gloves off.
He has no regard for the truth. He has no regard for facts. He has no regard for anything except his personal ambition. He just craves attention. That's the oxygen of his ego. And believe me, he's got an ego bigger than all of Mount Rushmore.
But he is a man with a lot of followers and a lot of power, and the White House never knows what he'll do next.
money and millions of jobs going down the tubes.
Today it's NAFTA. Tomorrow it may well be another issue. In the meantime, here in Dallas, Perot's grassroots organization, United We Stand America, is busy helping its state offices gear up to become a crucial influence in the 1994 elections.
You're the activists. This is your organization.
From cramped meeting rooms to packed auditoriums, United We Stand members are electing officers, setting agendas, and building coalitions, trying to influence every race from local dog catcher to U.S. Senate. Perot organizer Russ Verney.
We'll be a swing vote in many congressional districts.
We got a little song we sang. We'll remember in November when we step into that little booth.
And that sends shivers up the spines of Democrats and Republicans.
I take him very seriously. I mean, anytime you get somebody with a mouth that big and that fast and a wallet that vast, you take him very seriously.
Clinton pollster Stan Greenberg says the White House wants to knock Perot out of the ballgame without alienating his supporters.
These are the voters that Bill Clinton has to win over if he is going to form a new majority and a new governing coalition.
Okay, give me a few more bars and I see the light.
I saw the light.
The revival spirit of Perot's rallies is not for everyone. Recent polls show Perot's negative ratings are rising, indicating that the more people see of him, the less they seem to like him. Even some of Perot's supporters have doubts.
Ross Perot right now happens to be our spokesperson, and right now we're happy with what he's doing, but we are an organization that's now going to be permanent, and we're going to have whatever spokesperson is appropriate at the time.
Whether Perot wins or loses on NAFTA, and whatever he has up his sleeve next, it's clear he strikes a chord with a lot of angry voters. Both Democrats and Republicans recognize Perot's supporters as a force to reckon with in '94 and '96. In Dallas, Vicki Mabry for Eye on America.
And that's part of our world tonight. Coming up soon on this CBS station, an investigation, a look at fame in this country, the climb to the top and the price some have to pay to get there and stay there. Interesting hour, 48 hours, fame, tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 Central.
And we'll be back tomorrow with the CBS Evening News. Thank you for joining us tonight, and for all of us at CBS News, good night.
Good night.
CBS News.
See this little gizmo? It's a computer chip, and it's valuable. So valuable that guess what's happening?
Chips are the dope of the 90s.
It didn't take crooks long to figure that out. But does stealing chips affect you? You bet it does. Find out why on